All right, everyone, new phase of the trip, Scotland, more specifically, Edinburgh. Yes, that's how you say it. It's not Edinburgh, it's Edinburgh. Like your mate or your friend is about to do something really stupid or just off the cuff, and you say, bruh. Or he just said something surprising. Anyway, that's how you say it. Well, it finally clouded up. Well, not finally, but I was hoping for a cloudy day, as crazy as that sounds. But anyway, here we are. Check this out. I can already tell you, a lot more touristy over here as opposed to Manchester, and it is not particularly close. Not by a long shot. No offense to all the reggaeton fans out there, but I actually like this music better. Fight me. I'm quite far away from it, but yeah, there's the Union Jack flag waving proudly. I haven't really been able to get one of like a shot of these until now. Maybe I'll get a better one later on. It is absolutely rammed down there, and even up here too, kind of. But for good reason. I mean, look at this. Imagine, like, even if I lived here, I could never get, like, you know, enough of it. You know what I mean? Now, you might be aware that President Shit for Brains, you know who I'm talking about, obviously, he has one or maybe 2+ more golf courses somewhere in this area. Well, somewhere in Scotland. I don't know where exactly, but it's not sitting very well with the locals here, as it shouldn't, because you know how much water it takes to maintain a golf course? A lot. I mean, not as much as AI, but it's a lot. And I don't think it's actually him that takes care of him. I think it's actually his ne'er-do-well son or sons. But yeah, that's another thing about Scotland. I wouldn't call it the elephant in the room. It's more like the invisible elephant in the room. Now, if you ever look at a map of the Roman Empire at the peak of its extent, you'll notice they never touched Scotland. They never quite got this far north in the Isle of Britannia, I think you would call it. And as for why that happened, or why that didn't happen, why they didn't conquer this area, is up for debate. But the most plausible reasons, from what I've read, are there just weren't of any like valuable resources that the Romans were after, or the Scots were just truly, you know, defenders, and they stood their ground, and they're like, Romans, like, get out of here. We don't want you here, and we're gonna, like, you know, fight to the death to make sure you don't conquer us. I think it was more the former rather than the latter, but it could have been a mix of both. I don't know. But I forgot. There's a third possible reason as to why the Romans never made it this far north. They never conquered Scotland. That being the terrain. Very hilly. I wouldn't call it mountainous, but very hilly, right? Like, also why the Afghanistan was never colonized by European power. So yeah, it could have been that also. All right, it's a new day here in Edinburgh. The sun's out, unlike yesterday. That's why we're wearing these. Had a nice little tour of the famous castle you see. The tour guide was amazing. I'm just surprised he didn't have to drink a sip of water before each rendition he's had to go through. That is very impressive in my book. The Scottish flag waving proudly. So, if you're in Edinburgh, chances are you are going to visit this castle here. This is the main attraction. This is the main thing that people go to. Very rich history. You're going to have to speak to someone else about it. You know, again, I took a tour here. Probably wasn't a good idea to film it, so I didn't. But this is the main thing right here. There's, you know, other sites obviously around here, like back there. Arthur's Steps, I believe it's called. I may or may not do that if I have the the energy, the strength. Of course, it's not a visit to Scotland unless you have one of these bad boys, Iron Brew. This is a traditional Scottish soda right here. I had it last night. It tastes like you're drinking bubblegum, which I actually kind of like. At least that's my take on it. But if you ever go to Scotland, you need, I repeat, you need to have Iron Brew at least once. Please. Yeah, I know I filmed this yesterday, but sorry guys, there's no flipping way I'm going all the way up there. No, not gonna happen. I'm way too out of shape for that. I can't, okay? I just can't. But here's a fun fact for you. Tony Blair, who any Brits watching, you know exactly who he is. He was the former British Prime Minister in the 2000s. I only know about his foreign policy. I don't know about his domestic policy in regards to like taxes and all that kind of stuff, but he stood alongside George Bush, who was my president at the time. He was born actually here in this very city. He spent most of his upbringing here. He he was born here, you know, largely bred, but he was also partially like raised and educated, I believe, in Australia. And I think he was in Glasgow for a bit, but mainly he was here in Edinburgh. So, yeah, there you go. No matter how you view the guy, it's pretty insightful knowledge, I'd say. Now, the only bands and musicians that I'm aware that came from Scotland that come to mind immediately are Altered Images and Calvin Harris. Altered Images, I believe, are from Glasgow. I'm actually going there tomorrow, spoiler alert, even though you're supposed to say that before, but I digress. And Calvin Harris is from Dumfries, I think that's how you say it, Dumfries, which is actually not far from Lockerbie. Lockerbie being the location where the Pan Am plane blew up out of the sky at the hands of Libyan terrorists. I can't say the actual T word because YouTube don't like that. They don't like when they do that. So yeah, I'm a fan of both of their works, or both of their work. Yeah, Altered Images is like a new wave band. Calvin Harris, he's done a lot of producing, but he's also created his own music too. It's got like a techno EDM sound to it. Highly recommend both of them. Now, if you're a fan of the Harry Potter franchise, I believe I said this on the channel before. I am not, but this is the city that a lot of the architecture and, you know, those movies and the books are based off of, or based on. Trying to be a little inclusive here to all the non-muggles, right? I guess I'm a muggle, but you know, whatever. When you have a sister who grew up like obsessing over everything Harry Potter, you know, I didn't really have a choice in the matter when the franchise was shoved in my face for the entirety of the 2000s. But yeah. Well guys, I think that'll be it for old Edinburgh. There's a lot the city has to offer that I didn't show you, but you know, I think I gave you quite a big taste, if you will, of what they do have here. Lots of cool buildings, you know, castles and whatnot. Edinburgh Castle isn't the only one. I can't tell you how many times I've had to like duck and dodge out of people like taking selfies, taking pictures, like kind of funny. But no, there's definitely more to Scotland than Edinburgh. As you will see in the next vlog, but you also have like Inverness, Aberdeen, where's it? Dundee. Yeah. There's a lot of other places to see here. There's I forgot the name of the wall that separated kind of the boundary between the Roman Empire and Scotland. Tour guide told me it this morning. I totally forgot it. Totally slipped my mind. You know which wall I'm talking about, but. Anyway, I think that'll be it for here. This isn't over for Scotland. I'm gonna be continuing in the next place. I will not reveal it until I'm actually there. So until then, I'll see you there.